clock is running on a decision that could define the Eagles' financial future. My friend, Howie Roseman just moved the pieces on a $51 million contract, and what he did creates a strategic exit that nobody saw coming. You need to understand what this means for the linebacker who was one of the best players in the game last season. Stay right here because this story has a lot going on beneath the numbers. I'm going to break all of this down for you. What the restructure means, how it works against the cap, and what it says about the relationship between the Eagles and one of their most valuable players. But first, if you're a diehard Eagles fan, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because this kind of financial maneuvering is exactly what's going to separate the Eagles from everyone else in the NFC over the next few years. So let's get into it. According to Over the Cap, the Philadelphia Eagles just restructured the 3-year, $51 million contract of Zack Baun, the linebacker who was an absolute monster last season. The move turns the 2026 season into a real contract year, which in practical terms means the Eagles created a window to move on from him if they choose to without paying the full price. But the big question that needs to be answered is, does this mean Roseman wants to get rid of Baun? The short answer is no. But the longer story is a lot more interesting than that. First of all, who is Zack Baun and why does he matter so much? The linebacker finished last season with 123 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 7 passes defensed, and 2 interceptions. Those numbers don't belong to just any player. Those are the numbers of one of the best linebackers in the NFL, and they were good enough to earn him his second consecutive Pro Bowl selection. That's relevant because we're talking about a player who has proven himself, week after week, as a central piece of the Eagles' defense. So why would the Eagles touch his contract right now? Here's the deal. To understand what Roseman did here, you need to understand the concept of a real contract year in the NFL. A normal contract year is simply the final year of a deal before a player can enter free agency. But what the Eagles created with Baun is a specific version of that, a structure that essentially gives them the option to move on from the linebacker after the 2026 season without taking a devastating cap hit. Teams don't do this without a reason. It's a surgical move, and Roseman is one of the best in the business at exactly this kind of operation. But that's only part of the story. Let's talk real numbers because this is where things get interesting. In the original 3-year deal, only $17 million was fully guaranteed. That happened in year 1 of the contract. Now, under the restructured framework, the Eagles will still pay Baun $16.75 million in guaranteed salary in 2026. That money is committed, no question about it. There is no cap savings in 2026 from this restructure, but starting in 2027, that's where the game changes completely. In 2027, Baun, his cap number would be $11.849 million. And then comes the smartest clause in this entire negotiation. The Eagles have the right to convert $15.5 million into an option bonus, which would open up even more cap space if they choose to. And if they decide to cut Baun as a post-June 1st designation in 2027, the savings would be $5.476 million. That's real money that can be redirected toward other roster needs. Are you seeing the logic here? The Eagles are not moving on from Baun right now. They're giving themselves an option for 2027. Think of it like an insurance policy. You pay for it hoping you never need to use it, but you feel a lot better knowing it's there. Roseman is one of the smartest general managers in the league precisely because he thinks this way, always opening doors before it becomes necessary to open them. But here's the question every Eagles fan should be asking. If Baun is playing at a Pro Bowl level, why would the Eagles need an exit? And the honest answer is that in the NFL, the salary cap is a brutal reality that doesn't care about performance. The Eagles have financial commitments spread across the entire roster, with Jalen Hurts, with A.J. Brown, with an offensive line that cost a fortune to build. Creating cap flexibility is not a sign that they want to move on from a player. It's standard financial management for a team that wants to stay competitive for multiple years. Taking a step back to see the bigger picture, the Eagles' defense has been one of the pillars of the team's success in recent years, and Baun is a central piece of that equation. His ability to play multiple roles, to pressure the quarterback, and to cover receivers is exactly the kind of versatility that the Eagles system demands from its linebackers. Replacing that kind of production is not simple, and Roseman knows that. What this restructure really signals is that the Eagles are managing the future with the same competence they bring to managing the present. The 2026 season will be, in practical terms, a year where Baun has the opportunity to solidify his position on the team even further, and where the Eagles have the chance to evaluate whether he remains a worthwhile long-term investment. This is not the end of the relationship. It's a strategic reassessment that benefits both sides in different ways. For Baun, a real contract year is extra motivation. Every player who reaches the final year of a contract with a chance to renegotiate has an enormous incentive to perform at the highest level possible. And given what Baun did last season, that additional motivation can only be good for the Eagles. Do you think a player who just put up 123 tackles and back-to-back Pro Bowl selections is going to slow down in a season that could define the next 5 years of his career? Not a chance. On the other side of the coin, what this structure creates for the Eagles is a clean evaluation window. If Baun continues at the same level, but if for some reason his performance drops, if injuries come into play, or if the team's needs shift dramatically, Roseman will have created a financially intelligent exit that won't blow up the Eagles' cap space down the road. Now, let's talk about another possibility that the reporting mentions, and it's one that's important not to ignore. The Eagles could execute the post-June 1st release in 2027 and then simply re-sign him to a new deal. This kind of move happens in the NFL with some regularity. A team releases a player to clear the cap, then signs a new, leaner contract that makes more financial sense for the current moment. If Baun maintains his performance, that would probably be the most interesting path for both sides. He earns a new contract based on what he's produced, and the Eagles make sure one of their best defensive players stays in midnight green. The real question then becomes, what is Zack Baun going to do with this added pressure? Are you going to see a linebacker who was already among the best in the NFL playing with even more hunger, or will the pressure weigh on him? Based on his track record, the answer seems obvious. Players who earn back-to-back Pro Bowl honors don't get there by accident. They get there through a combination of talent, work ethic, and a competitive mindset that doesn't shut off from one season to the next. And for Eagles fans, what does all of this mean in practice? It means Roseman is doing what he always does, playing chess while the rest of the league is playing checkers. Creating cap flexibility now, before a season that promises to be highly competitive in the NFC, is exactly the kind of management that allows a team to stay at the top for years, not just for one isolated season. The Eagles are a team built to win now and in the years ahead, and every financial decision reflects that mentality. There's no panic here. There's no crisis. This is smart resource management in a league where every single dollar of cap space has a real impact on a team's ability to compete for a Super Bowl. And with Jalen Hurts leading the offense and Baun anchoring the defense, the Eagles enter 2020 with all of that on the table: the restructure, the creation of the real contract year, the possibilities for 2027, and the performance level Baun needs to maintain. What's your read on the linebacker's future in Philadelphia? Do you think the Eagles will keep Baun beyond 2026, or is this restructure the first step of a planned exit? Drop your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to keep you updated with the latest Eagles news.